Good morning, everybody. It's Jeff Goldberg for the Sales Pro Network. It's Friday, August 6th, 2021. It's 10 a.m. here on the East Coast, and we're ready for another broadcast. I founded the Sales Pro Network because I'm a sales coach and trainer. I work with both individuals and organizations to help them increase their sales. And I founded the Sales Pro Network to help each and every one of you exceed your financial and sales goals, as well as to elevate the profession of sales. Sales Pro Network is a place where you can come and hang out, ask questions and get coaching, share your successes and challenges. And every Friday at 10 a.m., we either do an interview with somebody who can help the profession of sales, or I do a training. And today is going to be a training session. If you'll give me just a moment to share my screen, we're going to talk today about the mindset of selling. Sales is both a mental and physical game. We need to have skills, techniques. There we go. We need to have tips and tools and techniques and strategies and all kinds of skills in order to effectively sell, but we also have to have the right mindset. So today, I'm going to review some of the mindsets that I think you should have when you're selling. And at the very end of the presentation, I'm going to give you some ideas on how you can get stronger at any of those that you aren't strong enough on, or maybe that you need to develop from the get-go. So I'm going to dive right in. The first thing that is true is all great salespeople understand their why. Why did you go into sales? And what makes you stay there? So I can tell you from experience of almost 50 years of selling and working with salespeople that most of us fell into sales by accident. Very few people that I know went to college and said, I know what I want to do after this 4 years or 6 years or 8 years, however many years they want. I want to go into sales. Almost nobody does that, but we often wind up in sales by accident, or we take a job thinking we'll just do this for a while till we find out what we want to do with our lives. And then we find out that sales has an unlimited opportunity to earn. But top sellers understand why they went into sales, and most importantly, why they stay there. Where are they coming from? What's their purpose? They also have a very clear understanding of their product or their service and how it helps their client. If you don't have a solid understanding of how what you have to offer helps somebody, then they're not going to have a solid understanding. If people don't understand what you can do for them, what you bring to the table, what your product or service is going to help them with, then you're going to have a very difficult time being successful in sales. So you need to understand your why. Top salespeople also come from a place of service. And by service, I mean we're truly trying to help the customer. They truly consider that their job is to help somebody do whatever they're doing better than they're already doing it. So it's less of a transactional approach, less of I need to pay the mortgage or I need to pay the rent. And of course, we all do need those things. But the salesperson who truly does well has a mindset of I'm here to help you, and I'm going to do my very best to do that. Top sellers are also generous with their information and advice. Top sellers are willing to have a conversation with a prospect and share information with them that can help them, whether the prospect chooses to do business with them or not. The only proviso I'll put onto that is when you're giving information, when you're sharing advice and information with a prospect, don't give away the ranch. In consulting, we often talk about unpaid consulting being a proposal where you give the prospect every bit of information they need to either go off and do it on their own or to hire somebody else. So we want to be generous without giving away everything. And you have to know what's your actual intention. Am I just here to get paid? Am I just killing time, or am I truly trying to help people each and every day? The best sellers I've ever met truly enjoy the feeling, not just of closing a deal, which is one of the best feelings in the world, but also of helping their prospect succeed. Great salespeople are always resilient. I think that if you're in sales for more than 2 weeks, you've probably figured out that you're going to hear no pretty often. In fact, for most of us, we hear no way more often than we hear yes. I often run into salespeople when I'm either training or coaching who tell me things like, oh yeah, Jeff, I close 70%, I close 80%, I close 90% of the people I first speak with. Here's the thing. I'm so good at selling that people pay me to teach them and coach them how to sell. I close less than 50% of the people I first speak with, but I consider that part of the job. I suspect that if you have a closing ratio of 70, 80, or 90%, either you're way better at me at qualifying leads, or the more likely thing is that you're probably not speaking with enough people. You're only speaking to highly qualified prospects. Now, here's the thing. If you're only speaking to qualified prospects and you have a very high closing ratio, and that's putting enough money in your pocket, you're closing enough deals and you're exceeding your goals wildly, then keep doing that. But for most people, we're going to hear no way more often than we hear yes. So we have to understand that failing on a regular basis, hearing no, people are choosing not to do business with us, is just part of the job. And we have to understand that there are two answers in sales that are both excellent. The first one is yes. The second one is no. Now, I want you to understand that when I say no is a perfectly acceptable answer, I don't mean that the first time somebody says no, they're not going to do business with you, that you pack your bag and walk away. That's still time to have a real discussion until you get to a real no, because there's a difference between the no that means, I'm not convinced yet. I need some more information. If you just speak with me a little longer, maybe I can choose to jump off the bridge and do business with you, or jump over the fence, whatever way you want to say it. But there is a time when no actually means no. No, I don't need what you've got. No, I can't afford what you've got. No, the timing isn't right. Whatever the no is, sometimes that really means no. And the best thing you can do is leave, but understand that no is part of the job. I always say, yes is my favorite word in sales, but if yes is here, no is right here, is very, very close. Everything else is way down below. Like, think it over, like talk to my partner, like I have to take it to the committee. All that other stuff sucks. That's a technical sales training word. It sucks. So we want to understand that yes is great and no is great, and that it's okay to hear no, because we're going to hear it fairly often. Nobody that I know closes every deal. I've never met a salesperson in my entire career that closes every single deal. And again, if you are, I suspect you're simply not speaking to enough prospects, and you could probably close more business if you would just let some slightly less qualified people into your pipeline. It's also important that you know your personal metrics, especially what is the ratio that you have of people who first meet with you to the people who say yes. In other words, what's your closing ratio? In other words, what's the number of people who are going to say no that it takes to get to a yes? If you have a 50% closing ratio, which is an outstanding closing ratio, that means you have to speak to two people to get one yes, 2 for 1 every single time. I close about 42% of the people who I first speak with when it comes to sales training. I offer sales training, sales coaching, sales consulting, and a program called Outsource Sales Management. When I'm selling sales training, 42% of the time, people say yes to me. That means 58% of the time they say no. Well, I have to know that, because I know that I need at least to be speaking with two people to get one yes. I need a little bit more than two people to get to one yes. And you need to know your numbers too. But you have to be resilient. You have to be able to say, okay, this person said no, but the next one's going to say yes. It's okay. But you do have to be able to shrug it off. And I'd like you to remember that sales trainers often say, don't take it personal. Well, you could certainly say they're not saying no to you. They're saying no to your product or your service. But at the end of the day, as far as I'm concerned, they are saying no to you, because people do business with people. So while it may sting a little bit when somebody doesn't accept your offer, they don't want what you've got, it's okay. Remember that it's part of the job, and shrug it off. I always suggest, you lose a deal or you can't get an appointment, take a quick walk around the block, walk the dog, do what you have to do, and then get back into the game. Great salespeople have a mindset of resilience. Great salespeople also understand that they can control some things and they can't control other things. Some of the things you can control: your personal attitude and the way you react to anything that happens. When prospect says this, you react this way. That's under your control. You cannot control how they're going to react, but you can control your work habits, how hard and how long you work. You can control consistently doing your very best to move the sale to the next step, because no matter what process you use, a 4-step process, a 6-step process like I teach, a 7-step or a 10-step process, I don't care. The goal of every step of the sales process is simply to move the sale forward, or to figure out near the very beginning of the sales process that you didn't have anything in the first place and you need to move on. So good sellers understand what they can control and what they can't control, and they're not worried about what they can't control. They do their best to influence whatever they can, but really you should be focusing on the things that you can control. Top sellers have an attitude of integrity, a mindset that they are honest, and they're going to do whatever it takes to get a customer as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. They serve their customer, and they are not rip-off artists. We often have an uphill battle to fight in sales because years and years ago, the con man salesperson, or now we would say the con person, was prevalent. Well, these days it's less and less, in my experience, but there are still people out there who will say and do anything to get a sale. They will promise the world when they know they can't deliver. I'm a big fan of under-promising and over-delivering. That's how you get raving lunatic fans as your customers. But top producers, they have integrity, and they will not compromise their integrity just to make a couple of dollars. I suggest that if you can't sleep at night, if you're tossing and turning because you're ripping people off, you don't belong in sales, or at least you should be selling a different product. If you go on an interview and you have a feeling that the product needs some lying or some exaggeration, my coaching for you, run for the hills, go find something else. Great salespeople also have a mindset of hunger. Not that they're starving, but they're always hungry for more. They're hungry to be the best. They're hungry to make more money. They're hungry to win the contest. Great salespeople are almost never comfortable where they are. They always want to do better. Not in an ugly way, not in a nasty way, but if you're comfortable with how much you're earning right now, it's unlikely that you're going to grow. In sales, the tops producers always have an attitude that there's always more. I can always get to the next level. If I'm making $1.2 million a year, how do I make $1.3 million? If I'm making 80,000 a year, how do I get to 90? If I'm making 40, I'm just starting out, or I'm not doing that well, how do I get to 45 or 50? There's always that hunger. And great producers always have an attitude of positivity. They have an attitude of what I call realistic optimism. They are consistently optimistic while being realistic too. It's lovely to have an attitude of optimism about everything, but you also have to be realistic about it. There are some things that are never going to happen, and there are some things that are very unlikely to happen. So we can believe that the best is always coming our way, but we also need to be realistic about it. And top producers are not typically whiners. When I work with large sales organizations, there's always at least one and sometimes several people who just love to complain. As an outsourced sales manager, I'm currently managing 3 different sales teams. Well, each one has somebody on there who loves to whine, and I'm very good on cutting that off or cutting them out because I can't have cancer in a sales organization. If you are typically a negative person, I would urge you, adopt an attitude of positivity and leave the whining to somebody else. Focus on what you can do. Focus on the good that's in your organization. You don't have the latest laptop? Okay, but you have a laptop. You don't have the best leads, but you've got leads. You don't have any leads whatsoever, but you're in a company where they're giving you an opportunity to go out and sell a great product or service, and they're paying you good commissions. You have to start every single day knowing that each day is a new opportunity. And this is something my stepfather, who was a career salesperson, taught me when I was very young. He sat me down and he said, Jeffrey, I want to tell you why sales is a great career. Sales is a great career because every day you get to wake up and look yourself in the mirror and give yourself a raise. And he paused there so I could think about it. I'm like, oh, I can give myself a raise every day? That sounds like a good thing. But then he continued and said, and all you have to do is go out and earn it. That wasn't quite as happy to me, but it's been true over the years. Every day I can look myself in the mirror while I'm shaving and go, I'm giving myself a raise today. And every day I have an opportunity to go out and make that money, to help someone else choose to become my customer and me to be able to feed my family. Every day is a new opportunity. And if you don't wake up feeling that, you don't have the right mindset in sales. Great salespeople have an attitude of authority. I'm not saying they come off as cocky, but they do come off as confident. Good sellers, successful sellers, they have a very clear knowledge of what they bring to the table, how they can truly help people, what the features and benefits of their offering is, and how they can best help somebody. And when they are sharing that information with a prospect, they speak with knowledge. They speak with authority. They speak as if they know what they're talking about. They speak with confidence. If you are not confident in A, yourself, B, your product or your service, then you need to do something about that. You need to start reading some books, take a program, get a coach, do whatever you need to do, but you need to get your mind right. Successful sellers are confident that they can help others. And they have an attitude that they are always going to be prepared. They read books, they go to seminars, they're lifelong learners, and they prepare for each and every sales call. I urge sellers before every sales call to be thinking about, who am I going to be meeting with? What can I learn about them? What do I know about their company? What do I know about what they're already doing regarding what I have to sell them? Google is an incredible tool to learn about all kinds of stuff before we actually go on a sales call. And I urge sellers to always be thinking before you go on a sales call, what information do I need to get today in order to consider this sales call successful? Amateurs wing it. Amateurs show up and go, I'll figure this out. Professionals plan. Professionals plan, and you need to be a professional. Great sellers are introspective. They analyze constantly. Every time they go on a sales call, whether they win or lose, they go over what went well and what could have gone better. If they lose a sale, where did it go wrong? What could I have done? And they take responsibility. It's not the prospect, it's you. When we're selling, it's all about us helping the prospect. But when we haven't closed a deal, take responsibility. What could I have done differently? What could I have done better? What could I have done sooner? Pros understand that at the end of the day, their success or failure is on them, not somebody else, not the boss, not the leads, not the equipment, or anything else. It's their ability to have conversations with people, make friends, ask questions, confirm the answers, give a great presentation, and close. But that's on us as sellers. And great sellers have strong emotional intelligence. Great sellers are great at managing their own emotions and trying to understand the emotions of their prospect. And that brings up the word that I know gets overused, but it gets overused for a reason. Great sellers are empathetic. They try very hard to understand what the other person is feeling. Even if you can't necessarily feel it yourself, they at least are trying. Great sellers are thirsty. They're always thirsty for knowledge. There was a commercial years and years ago. I think it was for Wendy's. There was an old lady who used to go, "Where's the beef?" Well, great sellers are always thirsty for, where's the next bit of knowledge I can gain? What's the next thing I can do to improve myself? What's the next program, the next course, the next book, the next seminar, the next video I can watch? The best sellers are always lifelong learners. Look, I've been in sales for 48 years. I still am reading books. I still attend seminars. I don't know everything. I don't know what somebody else has figured out that I don't know. I don't know what young person 30 years my junior who's brand new to sales has come up with that might just be the thing that's going to change the industry. Constantly trying to figure out what's new, what's better than I'm already doing, and incorporating that. And great sellers are proud to be in the profession of sales. I find quite often sellers are embarrassed to tell people what they do for a living. I know I used to. When I sold Encyclopedia Britannica a million years ago, I found it embarrassing to tell people that's what I did. I was proud of the books. I was proud of the product, but it was always kind of, yeah, I'm a salesperson. I sell encyclopedias. I'm proud of what I do. I should have been proud back then, and I'm certainly proud now. If you are a seller with integrity, who truly tries to help people and has a product or service that can do that, you should be proud to be in sales. Every day, wake up and give yourself that raise. Great sellers have grit. They are determined. They are willing to do the hard work that it takes to be successful in sales. And I wish I could tell you that sales is easy. It's not. I don't know very much in life that is easy. But if you put in the hard work, if you take the time to learn your craft and you actually try to serve customers, there's a price to pay for everything, but great sellers are willing to pay that price, just like great athletes. Look, right now, I think the Olympics are still going on. I don't think they've ended yet. Those athletes have paid a huge price to get where they are. You don't get to be an Olympic competitor without putting in years and years and years and hundreds and thousands, sometimes thousands of hours of practice, of waking up early, of doing what the other guys won't, of doing what other people are simply unwilling to do. They're willing to pay the price, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it hurts, because they know that somewhere down the line there is a reward. Great sellers work with velocity. Great sellers have an attitude that, yes, I'm hoping there's going to be a tomorrow, but I need to get as much as I can possibly accomplish today accomplished. I need to do as much as I possibly can. Great sellers work as fast as they possibly can, as if the devil is chasing behind them, without being careless, without making mistakes. And they also understand, while they need to work with velocity, the sales process itself cannot be rushed and it should not be shortcutted. Do I want every sale to close the minute I walk in the door with and meet with somebody? Of course I do. But I also know that each of the products or services that I sell have a sales cycle, and sometimes it's extended. I do everything I possibly can to move things forward, but I have to also understand the law of gestation says everything takes a certain amount of time. You can't rush popping a baby out of a woman's body. It needs to grow for 9 full months. Sometimes they come out a little early and hopefully they're okay, but they're supposed to grow for 9 months, and a sale takes a certain amount of time too. Great sellers also work with focus. They are not chasing every shiny object, and most of us do have shiny object syndrome. They understand that every time they try to split their attention between two things, in other words, they're trying to multitask, that you are reducing the efficiency and effectiveness of both those things that you're trying to concentrate on. You cannot do two things at once and expect both things to come out as strong and as well as if you were focusing on one thing at a time. I know we all think we're great multitaskers. I guarantee we are not. You are not, and I am not. And there's example after example after that. It's been proven scientifically in the laboratory. Do we sometimes need to do two things at once? Yes. I'm talking to you. I'm about to press the button on my keyboard to forward the motion on the slide. But that only takes me a second. When you're focusing on selling, focus on one thing at a time and do it as quickly as you can, and then move on to the next thing. So a lot of it is simply attitude. It's the way you look at things. It's really making up your mind of how the world is going to show up for you and how you're going to show up in the world of sales. It's truly a choice every single day. You can choose to be successful or you can choose to not be. And I guarantee you, in every selling situation, somebody's getting sold. Either you're selling the customer and they're choosing to do business with you, or they're selling you on why they're not going to. Make the choice that they're going to choose to do business with you. So here are some tips that you can use on developing the mindset that you need to succeed in sales. At the bottom of the mountain here, I urge you, set up your day for success every single day. I would urge you to not be the person that wakes up and has this thought: oh, crap, another day. It's not the weekend yet. I have to go out and try to sell. Come on, we can do better than that. If you don't have a goal that excites you, that gets you to jump out of bed in the morning and go, yeah, today's the day I can do some more stuff to work towards my goal, then something's wrong. You don't have a big enough goal or an important enough goal. Set up your day for success by having positive thoughts right from the get-go. As soon as you open your eyes, talk to yourself. Use affirmations. I walk my dog first thing every morning. Of course, I go to the bathroom and then I walk the dog because he has to do that. And while I'm walking the dog, I'm walking through my neighborhood, often right along the ocean, and I'm talking to myself out loud so I can actually hear myself. And I'm saying positive things. Today is going to be a great day. That's how I start out every single morning, telling myself that today is going to be a great day. Does that guarantee I'm going to have a great day? Nope, but it certainly increases the odds. And I have like 10 minutes more of affirmations that I do every morning. Maybe you like to journal and talk about how your day is going to be set up. Maybe you're a meditator and you're going to meditate on your success. Maybe you pray. Maybe you're a religious person. I don't care what you do, but set up your day for success. You're in charge of the way you're going to think. Take responsibility for that and put good thoughts into your head. The second thing is you need to expect to succeed. Too many times I've seen salespeople pick up a phone and go, this person's not going to want to talk to me, or I'm not going to get through. Or they go on a sales call and go, this guy's not going to buy from me. You've got to expect success every single time while understanding you're not going to succeed every single time, but at least expect to. When you expect to succeed, you've got a far greater chance of actually doing so. You need to monitor the little voice that's going on in your head at all times. Excuse me, monitor your self-talk. There's a little voice inside everybody's head that's constantly talking to each of us. And if you don't know which voice I'm talking about, it's the little voice that just said, what voice is Jeff talking about? It's chattering in the back of our minds all the time, talking to us. And we either pay attention to it or not. I suggest you do pay attention to it. But when you hear yourself being negative, that you gently shift to a more positive self-talk. For example, self-talk like, I'm so fat, I'm broke, I'm an idiot, I suck at selling. Those are not positive. Those are not going to help you get where you go, because what you're focusing on tends to be attracted more into your life. If you start saying, I'm an idiot, more idiotic things are going to be attracted into your life. If you say, I'm a loser, you're going to keep losing. Monitor your self-talk. And when you hear yourself telling yourself negative thoughts, gently correct yourself. Don't beat yourself up. It's not time to go, oh, I'm such an idiot for thinking that. That's more bad self-talk. It might be, oh, you know what? I did act stupidly in that particular instance, but I actually am very intelligent and committed. Monitor your self-talk and shift to a more positive inner voice. You have to be accountable. It's tough to be accountable to yourself, although some of us can do it, but you do have to be accountable. Either make promises to yourself and kick your own ass when you don't keep them, or find somebody else, a partner, a coach, anybody else that you can be accountable to. Make promises and finally commit. Make commitments. When I coach people, I always start out by telling them, I don't care what you wish for. I don't care about your dreams. I don't care about your wants, your desires. I don't care about any of that stuff. As a human being, I do. But as your coach, I only care about one thing: what you are committed to. You want a red Corvette? I'll be committed to that too. You want a beautiful beach house with a pool on it? And I'm looking at that one right now, and it looks pretty good to me. Big stacks of $100 bills, whatever you're committed to, I'm committed to also. But without commitment, very little happens. I've talked a number of times about commitment in the Sales Pro Network, and I often give the example of losing weight. You can want to lose weight. You can hope you lose weight. You can dream about losing weight all you want. But until you commit to losing weight, you're not going to. I've told you many times in many of the interviews that I've done, and I've talked to many of the people that I've interviewed about how, yeah, I know how to lose weight. I know exactly what to do. I'm just not committed yet. Well, about a month ago, I committed, and I'm down 15 pounds in the last month. But there's only one reason: because I committed. I committed to not eating candy all night long anymore. And I love eating candy. I'm a sugar addict, but I'm more committed to getting my right size body and having a few less chins and a little less belly than I am to eating candy, at least for right now. You've got to commit. Set up your day for success. Expect to succeed. Monitor your self-talk. Be accountable either to yourself or somebody else, and commit. Those 5 things are going to help you get to your goal. I'm here to help in any way I possibly can. You guys should have my number by now, but it's right here on the screen. If there's something I can do to help any of you at any time, it is truly my pleasure. And I'm going to stop the sharing. I'm going to take a quick look just to see if there are any comments. If anybody has any questions. Let's see. Good morning, Steve Kent. Good to see you as always. Fran, that must be you in Texas. If you don't connect your Facebook account to StreamYard, it just says Facebook user, but I'm betting it's Yeehaw. Good morning, Fran, down in Texas. Mark Siegel, who is a coach, and he helps people through hypnosis. A good guy to know. He says he absolutely agrees. Keith Ginsburg says, good morning, Sales Pros. Ben Gips, a good friend of mine now. Hi. Mark Siegel says, maybe takes way too much energy. Yeah, commitment, baby. Maybe doesn't get you anywhere. Austin Bryan, they only put in a bunch of names. I don't know what those are for. I think he's maybe tagging some people. He's saying this is excellent information. Steve Kent says multitasking is a myth. More great information. Thanks again. And Halakai Goldstoff says, good morning. Guys, thank you for being here. If you watch this on the replay, please put replay into the comments so that I know you were here. If you have any questions that I can help with, it's always my pleasure. And I'll end as I always do. Please remember that sales is a game of making things happen. So get out there today and every day and make sales happen. Thanks, guys. See you soon. Have a great weekend.